6 p.m. I think we're ready to start. Okay, I call this meeting to order. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Good evening and welcome to this meeting of the Salinas Traffic and Transportation Commission, Thursday, March 12th at 6 p.m. Agendas are available at the back of the room and in front of the entrance door. Chrissy, would you mind doing a roll call, please?
Commissioner Daly?
Here.
Commissioner Matali?
Here.
Staff has not heard from Commissioner Osornio. Commissioner Hammer?
Here.
Staff did hear that Commissioner Guerrero will not be in attendance this evening. Commissioner Peterson? And Commissioner Hernandez?
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any members of the public wanting to address the commission on items not on today's agenda, but under the purview of the commission? May do so at this time. Well, no one's here. No comments? Anybody online? Oh, that's Ms. Overmeyer from MST, I saw. So, if Michelle has anything to say in public comment, do we know? Okay. That's a yes? That's a no. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little rusty. It's been a few months. All right. Are there any written communications received by staff regarding items on the agenda that were received after the report packets were set out? Thank you. Let's get to the consent agenda. Items included under the consent agenda may be acted upon entirely with a single motion by the commission. The consent agenda today is just the approval of minutes, ID 26099. Are there any questions from the commissioners with regard to items under the consent agenda? No questions from commissioners? Okay. Are there any questions from the public with regard to any of these items? All right, this is great. Is there a motion to approve all the items included under tonight's consent agenda?
I'll second.
Great. Are there any, that's it, right? So can we do a vote, please? Thank you.
Commissioner Daly?
Approved.
Commissioner Matali?
Approved.
Commissioner Hammer?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson? Minutes? And Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Next item will be an administrative report on the public review draft for the Vision Salinas 2040 General Plan. Grant, take it away, buddy.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Grant Leonard, Planning Manager with Advanced Planning and Project Implementation. Pleased to give you a presentation tonight on our General Plan Update, Vision 2040. And if we could have the PowerPoint pulled up, we'll start the slideshow. Okay, very good. So we are presenting tonight on our general plan update, which we have released the draft plan in December of last year, and we've had an extended public comment period over the last couple of months. And we're pleased to be here tonight to share with the update with you. So this is the first comprehensive general plan update since 2002, and a lot has happened in the last 24 years. So we're overdue for an update. There have been changes to state law. There have been updated planning documents that the city has prepared. Our population has increased. There's been a lot of changes. So this plan covers those. It is the guiding policy document for the city on a number of items, including housing, transportation, circulation, economic development, parks and recreation, noise, public safety and environmental justice, to name a few. This update elevates all of the planning priorities and community goals that have been identified in subsequent planning documents in the last couple of decades. And it also includes the city's first climate action plan and the city's first environmental justice element. Next slide. So this project was originally kind of kicked off with the completion of the 2017 economic development element, followed by the Alisal Vibrancy Plan and the Downtown Vibrancy Plan and the Chinatown Revitalization Plan. And with all these planning activities going on, it became apparent it was time for a new general plan. And to start that was really identifying what the core values and the guiding principles would be for the update. And so these were developed with the community, and they really are intended to make sure that the general plan leads to an economically prosperous city that has housing for all of our residents in a variety of types. It's healthy and safe. It's a good place for our youth to grow up and stay. That the update would be collaborative and inclusive and have decision-making for community-wide. And that, again, we'd have a sustainable, livable community with improved connectivity, mobility, and access, key to this committee's review. And at the end, we would have a Salinas that's a community to celebrate going forward to 2040 and beyond. So these are some of the planning documents that led to the development. I mentioned a few, like the Alisal Vibrancy Plan or the Downtown Vibrancy Plan, the Economic Development Element. Also Park and Rec's Master Plan. There have been a number of transportation-related planning documents that fed into this, including the Safe Routes to School Plan, the Vision Zero Plan, plans from our partner agencies like Monterey Salinas Transit, and even recently the 2024 Active Transportation Plan. So to date, we had a lot of community engagement, and that is continuing, as I mentioned, but 23 workshops. Since the start of the project, we've had working groups. A steering committee was set up with appointees from the council members. We've done pop-ups at community events or outside popular restaurants or in front of churches at Mass. We have contracted with community development or community-based organizations, to reach folks who might normally not be reached through things like house meetings. Go to their house and talk to them about the planning policies that we're discussing. Or going to places where people are working, like out in the fields, folks who might not normally come to a meeting like this. And multilingual outreach as well. Not just Spanish and English, but also the indigenous languages that are present in Salinas. So all that public outreach led to overarching goals from the community that were then developed further into policies and a list of actions to implement those goals and policies. And so really what we're doing is we're taking the high-level aspirational element from the community, and then we're funneling it down into actions and deliverables that the city can work on over the coming years. And then that leads to development requirements. And on a separate note, we are updating the city's zoning code as a complementary project to this general plan update. And so essentially, you'll start with a goal or a vision, like a new library or more affordable housing, and that leads to specific actions, drawing up the blueprints, getting a funding strategy, and then ultimately you end up with a new library like El Gavilan or new senior housing like the Hikari Village. So that's the general plan from high level to project delivery. So as I mentioned, there have been a number of changes in state law in the last 24 years, a number of them related to transportation and climate action, global warming. Here are just a few listed. Some of them relate to transportation, such as vehicle miles traveled versus level of service analysis, or the Complete Streets Act, for instance. So this general plan recognizes the new elements I mentioned, the climate action plan, the environmental justice. It aligns with the various community plans we discussed. It has a new type of land use classification called place types. You might be familiar with residential zoning, 1, 2, 3 for single family homes, 2 apartments. This has a different version of that called a place type, where it would be like a traditional neighborhood or downtown core or mixed-use village. And really what that does, it just adds more flexibility and allows greater uses within those classifications. So it's to encourage infill development more than anything. And then it does have an emphasis on housing as well as a more comprehensive transportation approach, not strictly focused on relieving congestion and level of service as we were in 2002, but more focused on addressing transit needs, bicycle needs, pedestrian needs, and automotive needs as well. So really a holistic approach. And then making sure the climate adaptation policies are incorporated as well. So this is the structure. This is where I get into a bit of a reading guide to help you as you review the document. It's broken into 3 pillars. The built environment, everything man-made, so does our land use, our housing, our circulation, noise, and community design. The environmental and sustainability pillar is about our conservation, our open space, and then our economic systems and our health systems under socioeconomic pillar. So the health element, the environmental justice element, public safety, economic development, and youth, art, and culture. So every chapter is organized the same. There's an introduction, there's assets and challenges, goals and policies, and then the implementation. Again, this is meant to be an action document. So for the circulation element, the item that most pertains to this commission, there are 3 goals. I'll read them off to you. That provide and maintain a safe and integrated circulation system that meets all of the current and future needs of the community at all modes of travel. And to create and support a sustainable, healthy transportation options that encourage a reduction in single occupancy vehicle and overall vehicle miles traveled, get folks out of their cars or to carpool. And then to support the local economy through a circulation system that moves products safely and efficiently. So again, emphasizing that transportation really does support and affect our economy. Now, under these 3 goals, there are 9 additional policies and 51 actions. And we're not going to go through them all right now, but they are included as an attachment to your staff report, as well as the entire circulation element as an attachment. So if you don't want to read the whole general plan, you just want to focus on transportation, we've pulled those out so they're easily accessible for you. Again, we released the draft in December, just before the holidays. We have it available for review on our website. There's a dedicated email to receive comments. We are still finalizing 3 chapters of the general plan. That's the economic development element, the climate action plan, and the environmental review for the document. Those are all currently drafted and in the stages of being finalized. So we look forward to releasing those this spring with a revised version of the document that was put out in December that incorporates all the public comments we've received to date. So we are rapidly closing out the first quarter of the year. We will continue our engagement into the second quarter of the year. Release the documents I just mentioned. Those have some statutory timelines associated with them, like a 45-day comment period for the environmental document, for instance. And then some acronyms up there. EIR is Environmental Impact Report. CAP is Climate Action Plan. GP is General Plan. So those will continue to be out for public comment and additional review, and then revisions through the summer. The zoning code update, ZCU, is also closing out its first phase. It's a 3-phase project, so we'll have that first set of amendments to council. We're planning for June. And then over the summer, quarter 3, is when we would start the more formal adoption process. There are a number of hearing bodies that have to review the final version of the general plan. And then we have the various city boards and commissions that will also take a final version of the plan too for review. And then in the final quarter of the year, we're looking for an adoption of the general plan. climate action plan and the environmental impact report. And then we'll continue to work on the zoning code updates, phases 2 and phases 3. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions or comments.
All right, thank you very much for your presentation, appreciate it. Let's start with Ms. Daly. Do you have anything?
Just thank you, 24 years. It's probably been a long, but I know all along there's been addressing, but not officially, I guess. Is that correct?
Right, so it's been 24 years since the last general plan was adopted. This process of updating it started in 2021.
Oh,
So there were a number of years where we're moving along with the adopted general plan, and then at a certain point it became obvious it was time for an update.
thank you, thank you. No questions.
Ms. Peterson?
Just questions or questions and comments?
Questions, I think, just questions and comments later.
Good evening. My only real question is, was this done primarily by staff or a contractor?
So all of the content was prepared by staff, and then the environmental review document is prepared by consultants, and then the consultants helped with the formatting and the outline of the document.
Thank you. That's it.
Ms. Peterson? I'm sorry, Mr. Hernandez? Sorry.
Thank you so much, and I got nothing to say or ask.
All right, thank you. Ms. Matelli?
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I do have one question. Towards the end there, you said they're going to be released, the EIR, the CAP, and the GP for the 45-day comment period. How is that release happen?
Right, so it'll be released in a number of ways.
Okay.
Again, I mentioned it's a formal process. It complies with the California Environmental Quality Act, state law. So it'll be published on our city website. There'll be physical copies at City Hall and the Community Development Department and the library. And it'll also be posted to the State Clearinghouse for environmental documents.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. I just have one question. You had 23 events. Do you have any idea how many people have overall throughout the whole city have participated, like ballpark? You may not have kept track of everybody, but
Yeah, I know we do have specific numbers in the engagement chapter, which is number 2, chapter 2 in the general plan. But off the top of my head, it was many thousand people in direct contact that we had through the workshops, the pop-ups, the various community meetings and stakeholder meetings. And then at a larger scale, there are the folks who accessed it through social media or followed along through the budget process over the years. We typically would piggyback off of other engagement processes. So that number is a little harder to calculate.
awesome, thank you. Since there's no further questions, are there any questions by the public or for the public? None? Okay, excellent. Let's bring it back for final comments. There was a hand, I'm sorry. Hello, phone number. Can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, Commissioners. This is Michelle Overmeyer with Monterey Salinas Transit. I did try to join on the web browser, but there is no way to raise my hand there, so I called in. So thank you for taking my hand. Just wanted to say thank you to Grant for this presentation. It's great. MST has been participating in the General Plan Steering Committee since the beginning, so we really appreciate the collaboration and the opportunity to help inform the general plan update, and we're looking forward to it being adopted. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Are there any more questions from the public or anybody? Going once, twice? Okay, let's bring it back for final comments. Ms. Daly, do you have any final comments?
No, just thank you. A lot of work, and looks like it's very thorough. Thank you.
Mr. Peterson?
It should surprise no one that I've got some comments. And first, just a little bit of background. I was involved in the 2002 general plan. And I was also involved a little over a half century ago with the Caltrans Statewide Bicycle Committee, the very beginnings of it. It's out of business now. But we did some good things, including rewriting some laws. But I took the opportunity and made some notes. And I may have some enemies because of my notes. I'll just give one example. One of them, basically they're based on safety. And in my opinion, what was done was too far from the Caltrans Highway Design Manual and the California Vehicle Code, which are both safety oriented. And let me give you just one example. Oh, by the way, I did give a plug for the TAMC bike rack program. You may be familiar with it, Grant. You ran it. Anyway, well, I'd like to just focus on one thing, and that is what was suggested for Laurel Drive, which was bike lanes, Class 1 bicycle path, bike lanes. Number one, the Class 1 bicycle path was incorrectly defined. It was defined as a multi-use trail. It is a two-way bicycle facility. A multi-use trail is a multi-use trail. In order to use that, well, there's no way to use something like that construction safely, just none. If you use the bicycle lanes, then you have to stop and use the bicycle path, which is on one side of the road, which means 50% of your bicyclists are crossing Laurel Drive. Then you get to the end of that, and 50% has to cross back again. That won't work safely. And I'll just leave this. One thing that, I know I said I'd do one thing, and I'm doing more than one. A significant thing in the Caltrans Highway Design Manual, generally, bike paths should be used to serve corridors not served by streets and highways, or where wide right-of-way exists, permitting such facility that goes on. Essentially, what Caltrans thinks is Class 1 facilities are more recreational than functional. Rossi Rico Parkway. It's not nearly up to Caltrans standards, but it works. And that's what they're thinking about. There are going to be sections of four tags that'll be Class 1. And there'll be sections of four tags that'll be lanes. So I'm just going to leave this with you folks, and you all know how to get a hold of me. If you have any questions, if you throw darts at it, that's fine with me. But I've had too many friends killed and seriously injured in bicycle crashes to not take this seriously. And so I've got some notes. And you are welcome to ask for clarification on any of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Mr. Hernandez, final comments.
None. Thank you so much for your hard work.
Ms. Patilli, final comments?
No comments, thank you.
All right, I don't have any
Yes, I'm sorry, Commissioner. One correction to an earlier statement I made. The bulk of the general plan was written by staff. However, the circulation element did have supplemental assistance from Kimley Horn, a transportation planning and engineering consulting firm. So they did the modeling work, and they helped with a lot of the text as well. So I just wanted to give credit to them and make sure that's included.
Thank you. I don't have any other comments on this, and since this is a presentation and requires no action, there's no vote or motion, so I think we're just going to move on to the next topic. Thank you. The next topic, status of general fund and road improvement capital improvement projects, 26091.
Good evening, Commissioners. A. Pedroza, Assistant Finance Director. I'm here to present a status review of the city's capital improvement projects. This information was presented to the Finance Committee on February 17th, and at the meeting, Mayor Donahue requested that staff present to the various boards and commissions, including the Traffic and Transportation Commission. Too far. Okay. Capital improvement projects, or CIPs, are normally appropriated annually in June of each year as a result of the budget development process and subsequent council adoption. However, CIPs can also be appropriated at any time during the year by council action, for example, at the mid-year budget review. CIPs are funded by a variety of sources, including the general funds, special revenue funds, enterprise funds, development impact fees, assessment district fees, and construction grants. Any unspent appropriations at year-end are carried forward to the next fiscal year. For the purpose of this review, city staff focused on the general funds and road improvement funds. The general funds are comprised of the general fund, Measure E, and Measure G. At December 31st, 2025, there was $23.8 million in unexpended and unencumbered CIP budget. Staff has developed project timelines for most of these CIPs as detailed in Attachment A of the staff report. Included in the timelines are project beginning and ending dates, as well as key milestones for each project. Also, as part of the review, staff is recommending $2.4 million in general fund CIPs be reallocated to different projects in order to move those forward, and $60,000 be deappropriated, mostly due to the project being complete. A deappropriation would mean the budget would return to fund balance for future use. The road improvement funds represent gas tax, Measure X, and SB1. At December 31st, 2025, there was $27.1 million in unexpended and unencumbered CIP budget. It is important to note that $21 million of this total was recently appropriated as part of the fiscal year 2025-26 CIP budget. Again, staff has developed project timelines for these CIPs, as well as recommendations to reallocate approximately $1 million and deappropriate another $238,000. The next two slides provide a detailed look at the recommended budget reallocations for general fund CIPs. The proposed shifting of funds consists of moving budget from a CIP to its corresponding operating account, consolidating vehicle CIPs under the Vehicle Replacement Fund, grouping similar CIPs together, for example, street trees and tree planting on the upper right, and moving budget to projects in need of funding, as mentioned earlier. Here are some more proposed reallocations in the general funds. As noted on the left, the industrial waste treatment facility flood damage repairs project is complete, so staff is recommending moving the remaining budget to projects in need of funding. On the lower right, as an example, Cluster Park improvements and Cluster Park revitalization will be consolidated under one CIP. Staff is also requesting the deappropriation of $60,000, meaning the budget would be returned to the general fund and Measure G fund balance as detailed on the slide. As you can see, most are residual amounts left over from completed projects. The only item of note is $50,000 that was allocated to improvements at 342 Front Street. However, the city recently sold the property, and therefore the budget is no longer needed. For the road fund, staff is requesting these reallocations. These are simply cleanups, as staff is trying to group similar CIPs together in the areas of street trees, San Juan Grade Road, pedestrian improvements, and bridge maintenance. Staff is recommending the deappropriation of $238,000 in the road fund CIPs, as detailed on the slide now. The funds would be returned to Measure X and gas tax and would be available for new projects as determined by council at a future date. Although the last few slides detail the recommended reallocations and deappropriations, I did want to point out that a majority of the CIP review entailed comprehensive timelines developed by city staff. In total, there were timelines produced for 39 general fund CIPs and 21 road improvement CIPs. These timelines are presented in attachment A of the staff report. Staff will present the recommended budget reallocations and deappropriations for both the general funds and road improvement funds to council as part of the fiscal year 2025-26 mid-year budget review on March 24th. Lastly, I wanted to mention that the amounts listed for reallocation and deappropriation have been assigned an up to dollar figure. Amounts could be lower based on project expenditures between December 2025 and council action in March 2026. Going forward, staff will be providing routine CIP reviews consisting of the following: council and staff feedback to ensure fiscal resources are available for each project, staff capability to complete each project, community disruptions based on size and scope of the project, alignment with council priorities balanced with a reasonable workload, prioritization of projects, ability to deliver projects, and removal of completed or obsolete projects. And that concludes my presentation. Staff is available for questions. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much, Abe. I appreciate the quick overview. Let's see if we have any questions. Ms. Telly.
No questions, but thank you for the presentation.
Mr. Hernandez.
None whatsoever, but thank you for the presentation.
All right. Mr. Peterson.
No questions, thanks for the presentation.
Ms. Daly.
Same. Thank you.
All right, I have questions. Okay, so I was looking through some of the CIPs. I know we don't make a vote on it, but we can ask or make recommendations, right? So we're not actually changing what's happening here, but because we're not making any motions. But if we say something, will that be taken into consideration?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. There's an item on there for EV charging infrastructure for $200K. Is that just general EV charging, or is that for various sites throughout the city that are for public use, or is this city, let's say Courtyard for like F-150s or something?
That particular CIP is for the yard. We're putting money together because we're on a list for PG&E to do work at the yard and put infrastructure in so we can charge our city vehicles that we're purchasing. So that $200,000 is going toward that project.
Perfect, awesome, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Well, this one is near and dear to my heart. The Monterey Street parking garage improvements is set for only $100K. And I wish there was more, but that's a whole different story.
Right, we have a cost estimate for $150,000 to do improvements there. So this is the first step to get the upgraded equipment we need in the garage.
Okay.
So that 100,000 plus we're transferring another 50,000 in there
Yeah.
to make it full.
Okay, excellent. I'm looking forward to see those projects.
So am I.
Yes. Let's see, there's a active transportation plan reallocation to City Hall improvements. The ATP is near and dear to my heart, and I'm wondering why or what of the 100K that's moving over, what didn't we do or what couldn't we do? Or was this the money left over from the actual ATP planning process or project implementation? Does that make sense?
It was from the overall planning process. It didn't have that, those funds weren't for any type of implementations.
Okay.
There's other CIPs for implementation of projects, but that one was specifically regarding the money allocated for the planning document.
So you're telling me we could have had some catered lunches?
Well,
And it would have been okay? All right, so this is not necessarily going, like, taking a mile of bike path,
Correct.
painting away. Okay, excellent,
correct.
all right. You guys get all the nice stuff in City Hall. All right, and then, let's see, the road improvement CIP, it talks about the airport multi-use trail for 120K going back to Measure X. Was that just not done, or was it completed?
That particular project's been in the planning stages for 10, 15 years, and we've always tried to put money into the CIP, and we've never been able to build it up to where we have enough money to actually proceed with it. So it's better that we take it off the table, reallocate those funds until we can actually come up with a plan to move forward with that project.
Would this be the section from where the golf course is all the way to Barton, that chunk?
You know, I don't even know the specifics of it. I just know that that title's been in there a long time for a pathway in that area.
Okay,
And like I said, it hasn't moved forward in the 8 years I've been here. So I said,
Sure.
let's shift it off
Sure.
until we can actually have a plan to move it forward and find some funding for it.
okay, because I don't like money taken away from like all these multi-use paths, because that's what makes a really nice community.
Correct. Yes, but that's the one problem with that is that, you know, you get these CIPs and people get excited about it, but we never get enough money to actually move the project forward. So we think it's better to pull it off the table
Okay.
until we can find a funding source.
All right, well, we can probably find something for 120K. And then I think that's it. That's all the questions I had. Are there any questions from the general public that, have any questions? I'm sorry? Oh, is she still, does she have, raise her hand? Yes, Michelle. Can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think there's a little delay. This is Michelle Overmeyer again with Monterey Salinas Transit. Thank you for the presentation. I have a very specific question that probably requires a follow-up. The Frito-Lay project was developed on West Rossi Street a year or two ago, and during construction they fenced off the area, the roadway and the shoulder, and they removed the bus stop. So when the project was completed, they reinstalled MST's bus stop pole, but that area was not brought up to ADA standards, so we have not been able to reactivate the bus stop. And we contacted Public Works about a year ago, and they said the necessary correction would be included in the city sidewalk improvement project. So I'm wondering, is it in the CIP? We haven't been able to get a status on it, so I was hoping that, probably can't do it right now, but maybe you can follow up with me. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment or question. Do you guys happen to know that off the top of your head, or? Okay, fair enough. And it was at the Frito-Lay? Okay. Got it. All right, so that'll be a follow-up question. Because when we want to build improvements, we want to make sure ADA is included. So, are there any final comments from the commission regarding this presentation? No? Across the board, we're good to go? All right. And again, since this was a presentation, there's no vote needed. So we're just going to move right on to the consideration agenda, 26078, the 2026 Engineering and Traffic Surveys for Speed Limits.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jonathan Hernandez. I work with the Traffic Division in Public Works Department. Tonight, I'll be presenting the 2026 Engineering and Traffic Surveys for Speed Limits. So I bring tonight a motion to request that the Commission review the 2026 Engineering and Traffic Surveys and recommend that the City Council adopt a resolution approving the establishment of speed limits as recommended by the 2026 Engineering and Traffic Survey for Speed Limits Technical Report. Brief summary. Williams Road speed survey expired January 2026. In light of this, Public Works staff surveyed the segment and recommends a new speed limit of 30 miles per hour. Some background. Speed limit is a federal device. The California Vehicle Code indicates the engineering traffic surveys shall be conducted every 5 to 7 years to justify a posted speed limit. If an engineering traffic survey is not conducted,
Within this time frame, the posted speed limits are no longer valid and cannot be enforced properly. It will be considered a speed trap. In regards to establishment for speed limit, there's three components. There's data collection, data analysis, and data findings. First, staff will take in indiscriminate sample data during normal traffic conditions. Staff will survey and collect speeds for 100 vehicles under normal traffic conditions. After the speeds are obtained, there is an 85th percentile speed that is measured. This is the statistical measurement that is set or is used to set speed limits. What the 85th percentile speed is, it's the 85% is the speed that 85% of drivers are traveling at or below. Once this 85th percentile speed is determined, then based on the MTCD guidelines, a speed limit is recommended. For example, if there is a 85th percentile speed of 37 miles per hour, the MTCD guidelines indicates there has to be a rounding by the nearest 5 mile per hour increment. Therefore, that 37 would put it to a 35 miles per hour. Additionally, the MTCD guidelines also indicate there is permission to reduce that speed to 5 miles per hour, depending on the roadway conditions and constraints. However, in July 2024, California Assembly Bill 43 was passed, which allows local agencies to further reduce the speed limit by 5 miles per hour after conducting an engineering traffic survey. This is only applicable to segments that are considered safety corridors. The MTCD defines a safety corridor as a segment within the top 20% of the city network of crashes, or any road where these vulnerable groups are present within a quarter mile. So our traffic survey findings for Wyndham roads, we surveyed the road. We obtained an 85th percentile speed of 37 miles per hour. Following the guidelines for the MTCD, we rounded to the nearest increment of 5 miles per hour, which put us at 35 miles per hour. Also, using the MTCD guidelines, we are able to reduce that speed to 5 miles per hour based on the roadway conditions. Given the existence of on-street parking, fronting residential and commercial driveways, and the existence of numerous intersections, staff recommends reducing the speed to 30 miles per hour. With that, open to any questions.
Thanks for the presentation, Jonathan. Appreciate it. Let's go back to Ms. Daly for any questions.
Is this, I understand the concept of it needs to be reset because it's come to an end, but is there police reports backing those speed limits and the data that you have on accidents or just?
The survey is solely based on 80th percentile speed. Police reports don't come into account when we determine for a speed limit.
Well, I think they should be, I think police departments should be part of this discussion because as far as I'm aware of right now, police aren't enforcing a lot of the limits in town. Anyway.
Once a speed limit is determined or changed, staff works in coordinates with the police department, and they are notified of that speed limit change.
Thank you.
Mr. Peterson.
No questions. Thanks for doing this.
Mr. Hernandez.
You know, there's a lot of traffic through there. You got a lot of homes, apartments, and you got a lot of produce vehicles, buses, and people, they run out. even 25 would be a good speed limit. I know, you want to go 30, but safety-wise, even 25. I mean, people won't go 25, they go 30. If you tell them 30, they'll go 35. So,
Given the existence so Williams Road is a 4-lane road with a 2-way left turn lane. Staff considers enforcing a 25 mile per hour on that road. It was quite challenging.
okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Ms. Patelli? Matt Patelli.
Thank you. I do have a couple of questions. I remember this from one of the first meetings I attended about the process for this. So when the speed limit is reduced, and it will have to go to City Council for approval, once that happens, what's the timeline to set the new speed limit? That's my first question.
That is, once there's a resolution approved and passed, staff forwards this to our street maintenance department, and they set a schedule, and they are out there. Either we replace the signs with new speed limit.
Okay. And then when the new speed limit sign is out there, that's the first public notification. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so if I'm used to traveling that road, and I know it's been 35 for however long, and now it's 30, now I have the kind of car that the car tells me what the speed limit is, but not everybody has that. So is there any leeway for, let's say it implements April 1, is there some leeway, I'm not sure if I'm asking the question right, about writing the tickets, like a grace period, yeah, a grace period that you're just gonna get pulled over, but maybe not get ticketed, just get the warning, hey, don't forget the speed limit recently changed. If we catch you in another month, we're gonna ticket you, or something like that.
I don't believe there's a grace period, but that's more with police department and their enforcement.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Again, great presentation. Quick question. Does this, refresh my memory, but this is a 4-lane road section, correct?
Yeah, it's a 4-way lane with a 2-way left turn lane as well. So essentially it's a 5-lane.
Okay.
And it's classified as a major arterial within the road city network.
Okay. And there's a lot of, like you said, residential and business driveways and whatnot popping in and out of this road?
Correct.
And is this part of the Williams redesign that we're doing?
There's a future Safe Routes to School project for this street.
Would that
road.
replace this section, this whole section, or just part of it?
There's the 60 million project, it will replace
All of it?
improvements on all the corridors.
Okay. All right, excellent. So this potentially could be a temporary solution to a problem that will go away once construction is done, because it'll be completely redesigned. Okay. Excellent. That's the only questions that I have.
I'm sorry, I have one more question.
Okay.
I apologize. And this new speed limit will last until the next traffic survey?
Till the next 5 years, correct.
Okay, thank you.
But once the new construction is done, that will have its own study or its own design limit, so you don't have to do a study until several years after that project has been completed, correct? So I don't know the mechanics of it, so.
It just, it depends on the timeline of the project, of the completion of the project, but if there's changes within the roadway, and, the survey is still within its limits without expiration, there can be kind of something that triggers to reevaluate it based on new improvements. If not, then it'll stay until expired, and when it's expired, then that will trigger, well, not necessarily when it's expired, but sometime before. We've been keeping an eye on the expirations of them. This one just bypassed. But we've been keeping an eye to kind of recertify them prior to their expiration date.
So anybody who's gotten a ticket between January and now on that particular stretch could challenge it?
Technically.
Okay, got it. All right. Don't speed. All right, so 30 miles an hour, perfect. Are there any questions from the public regarding this item? All right, excellent. Bringing it back for final comments on the commission. Ms. Maselli, any final comments? Mr. Hernandez, any final comments?
None, thank you.
Mr. Peterson, any final comments?
No comments that move to recommend approval.
Since motion has been made, do we want to go for that right now? Is that how it works? You have a second on that? Second on the motion to approve?
Second,
Perfect. Let's do a roll call.
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, is that the order that was supposed, once a motion is made, do we just forget about the final comment?
Fine. No, I had none, so.
All right, no, I'm good myself, so. I know, right? Let's do a roll call.
Commissioner Daley?
Approve.
Commissioner Matali?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammer?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson? And Commissioner Hernandez?
yes.
Thank you.
All right, so that brings that to an end. Are there any, let's see, we're moving on to the next item, which is commissioner comments and reports. Ms. Maselli, do you have any final comments and reports?
I just have one to the staff. Thank you for always giving such professional presentations. I really appreciate the information. Since I'm so new to all this, it's really good informational stuff for me to figure stuff out. So thank you.
Mr. Hernandez?
I second what she said, but anyway, updates on those city lights throughout the town. City, I understand we have about seven miles of unlit streets throughout the city. Any updates from the city, from the manager that you're gonna start working on that? And also, whoever buys that copper wire, put a warning out that, hey, well, they can lose their license, they can, go after them, scare them, so they won't be buying that stuff. So, I mean, that's my input.
We can follow up directly in regards to the schedule. I don't have it with me. The maintenance department is the one taking the lead in the replacement of the vandalism that has occurred throughout this city in regards to street lights.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Peterson?
I got a few things, and I know this is kind of bicycle-centric week, but that's the way it is. At the TAMC bicycle pedestrian meeting last week, we had a caller who wasn't there. He said he'd show up at the next meeting, but he was representing the California Association of Bicycling Organizations, or CABO, which is an all-volunteer organization of bicycling organizations, and they might be a resource for future things. I'm going to get his contact information at the meeting next month because he said he would show up. And just for what it's worth, I was one of those who started CABO. And similarly, I mentioned the TAMC committee. That would be a resource for a lot of these things. Geraldo knows about it. And there's a lot of good information, a lot of knowledge in that committee. And the best thing I have to say is at the TAMC meeting, we've got some Traffic Excellence Award winners, including Geraldo for a project at Barton School, which took street pattern dating probably from the 1800s and brought it into the 21st century. And it is really neat seeing our public works get some credit like that, and especially Geraldo. So congratulations, and probably can't do it again next year, but that would be a nice idea. Thank you.
No comment, other than I'm continuing working with the mayor to do more public service announcements about traffic, pedestrian crossings. Not crossings, but please use the crossing. So that's about it. Thanks.
I don't really have a whole lot of comments either, other than on my street, Public Works is doing a bunch of ADA improvements along Mesa, putting in a bunch, taking out a bunch of old trees, removing the sidewalks, fixing sidewalks. It's great for people with wheelchair accessibility and trip hazards and whatnot. So I appreciate you guys doing that, and maybe we can funnel more money into that, because my street's not the only one. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I think we need to confirm whether we're all going to be here next week or next month. Sorry, next week. There's, you know. Yeah, we'll have a party. April 9th. Anybody? Any exceptions? We're all going to be there? Promise?
I'm
All
here.
right. Perfect. We will see you guys then, and this meeting is adjourned.
Hopefully we'll have to say too.
Yes. Look at that, before 7.